Good morning and welcome to Making Peace with Money with your host, Laurie Lomantia, Professor, CPO, and Prosperity Coach. Get ready to master your life and your money, not the other way around. Now, here is your host, Laurie Lamontia.
Good morning and welcome to our show today where we're going to be talking about prosperity and expanding the definition beyond money. Because for many of us, prosperity equals money. When you talk to someone and you ask them, well, what does prosperity mean to you? They many times talk about money. They talk about how much money they have in the bank, how much they are earning. So for us, either consciously or unconsciously, prosperity equals money. And of course, if we don't have money, we aren't prosperous. And so this is a really, in my opinion, limited definition of what prosperity is and can be. So today, I would really like to talk about expanding prosperity and talk about prosperity with a capital P. You know, this big prosperity that is grandness and really expansiveness. And start to see if we can be open to a broader definition of prosperity. Because from my perspective, prosperity is. It always is. It's always flowing. It's always around us. And I shouldn't even say it, because prosperity is different for all of us. And I want us to really embrace the possibility of there's tremendous prosperity around us always and in all ways. And so why don't we start to plant some seeds about a bigger prosperity? And that's what I want to do today, is just give you some ideas for expanding your definition of prosperity and seeing it in a new light and in a new way. So all we're going to do here for the rest of this hour of our conversation here is throw out ideas about what prosperity can be. And if you're open, feel free to call in and share your definitions or your ideas or your feelings on the topic, because again, prosperity is different for all of us. And when you start to feel and notice how prosperous and what makes you feel prosperous, I think you're going to really find that it is way more than money. And so let me just give you some ideas of what I'm talking about. So for me, there's a tremendous prosperity in simplicity. And now this might seem kind of counterintuitive, right? Prosperity is more. It's more money, more of the good things of life. It's more. But on some level, there's tremendous prosperity in simplicity. And I got this when I was reading this beautiful book, which is A Gift by the Sea. And the author goes and takes a 2-week sojourn from her life of 5 kids, a house in the suburbs, a very hectic career. And she takes 2 weeks in Sanibel Island, where there's really nothing but her home. There's not even TV. There's no phone. It's very simple. Her days are spent walking the beach, doing a little bit of writing, working, making some food, and then sitting by the fire. I mean, at night. It's just this beautiful, simple life. And the interesting thing that she finds after this 2 weeks of living away from the modern conveniences is that there's a tremendous amount of distraction that pulls you hither and thro and can really pull you out of the grace and flow of living. So on some level, when we simplify down to what's needed and necessary, it provides that place of grace. And I've really seen that, and I can see it how when we really start to simplify, we start to realize that we really don't need that much to live. And I'm not talking about mandatory simplifying, which I think is what's going on right now in our lives. There's this threat from the outside world, well, you don't have enough money, so you better learn to live with less. That's not what I'm talking about here. This is a choosing to let go of some things that might be distracting you from noticing all the prosperity that's around you, from noticing how rich your life really is. And that's different. When you are actively selecting to not schedule yourself, to not be overly busy just for busyness sake. When you start to turn down the franticness of life, you start to have this grace of living. And I'm not saying that it's, it happens for all of us that way, but I teach college at DePaul, and I see my students, and it's the end of the term right now, and they are frantic. They are so busy trying to get all their papers done and make and get good grades, and of course trying to have a social life. They look like zombies in class. It was amazing. They look so exhausted. So here I am trying to teach whatever I'm yakking about, and for them, it's just one more thing in a giant bucket of too muchness. And that too muchness is keeping them from hearing me or even wanting to hear or learn anything new. And that's what I'm talking about, to be so full that you can't appreciate what is. So that's the opportunity here, is seeing that there's tremendous prosperity in simplifying and pulling away some of the distractions. And this might be hard for your mind to conceive, that prosperity comes with simplicity, that the nature of simplicity seems at first to be austerity or limitation and lack. But that's scarcity. It's not simplicity. To me, this simplicity is effortlessness and ease and a spaciousness that allows a natural prosperity to bloom. So as you look around your life right now, ask yourself, where can I simplify? Not because I feel it's mandatory or required given the state of the economy, but where would I like to lessen the distractions or allow some of the fullness away so that this prosperity or this grace can move in. So I hope you're getting a sense of where I'm headed here with our time together, that I'm trying to show us a new way to look at prosperity that is a fullness of heart and a fullness of life. And it comes when we let go of the definition money equals prosperity. Another aspect of prosperity is wanting what you want. And I find it interesting that when I ask my coach clients, what do they really want? First of all, they can't answer at first, they think. But then you probe a little farther, and they do know what they want, but they don't want to admit it. And this is really kind of, I don't know if it's an ill of our society where it's not okay to have needs or wants or desires, but part of a prosperity consciousness is allowing yourself to really want what you want and saying yes to really what you want, not what you're supposed to want. And I think this is the key. It's not what's politically correct to want, but it's okay to want what you really want. And one of my clients was saying, well, to be honest, then I want to make $100,000 this year. Because she was thinking she should want the appropriate things like a new, for the best for her family and that kind of stuff, or to do the right thing. But when she was like really honest, she was like, really honestly, I want to be making my own money this year. I want to contribute to the household that way. And I said, well, that's great. That's okay. It's okay to want what you want. In fact, it's such an important part of who you are, and to allow the desires of your heart and mind and not to judge them. Because on some level, who knows why your heart and mind want what they want? And it's this judging that curbs them. And so, and that's what puts, when you put the brakes on, you can feel the energy confined and condensed. And that's counter prosperity, right? You can feel it in your body when you say, no, I shouldn't really want that. And what we're looking for as we look at a prosperity is an expansive woohoo. So the prosperity of wanting what you want and saying, okay, fine, that's it. I acknowledge it. That's what I want, and that's what I'm going to go for. So there's tremendous prosperity in allowing yourself to be honest with yourself and get on with it, with what you want. This is the opportunity to not ask why and just say yes. That's the beauty of this prosperity, this aspect of prosperity. So ask yourself, what is it that I really want? What is it that am I telling myself I should want something politically correct or appropriate, and instead say, well, if I were really honest and I didn't care what anybody else thought and I wasn't worried about, my friends looking at me crazy or, somebody saying, well, that's selfish. If you were to say that to yourself, what do I really want, unbarred and untethered, I think you would find tremendous freedom in that. And in that freedom and in that expansiveness is tremendous prosperity. Another piece of prosperity that I really feel is exciting is, on some level, it's wanting what you want, but it's agreeing to your dreams and dreaming big. I think it's so prosperous to say, yes, I want my dream, and I'm going to let it be as big can be. On some level, again, we are damping ourselves down, and when we damp ourselves down, we limit what could be. And so how many times I've damped down my own dreams because they didn't seem reasonable or achievable, or we get into living and we shrink the dream into something that's manageable. But a manageable dream seems to lose its juice sometimes for us. The key to a big dream is that it evokes excitement in us, and we think, ooh, wouldn't that be great? And in that, ooh, wouldn't that be great moment, you're in that prosperity feeling. It's that, I just can't wait to enjoy this, and I can't wait to experience it. And of course, not judging it, because your dream is different from my dream. And to say my dream is less than yours or your dream is less than mine is just another way we shrink into scarcity mode. And instead of saying, wow, your dream, if that's what you want, cool, I support that. You go, girl, you go, guy. And for me, saying, you go, girl, to myself. That's when we're living a prosperity consciousness, as when we're allowing ourselves to dream and we're allowing ourselves to have the big dream. I was watching the story of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and I don't know if when they wrote Good Will Hunting, they were trying to create something, a vehicle for themselves to become actors in Hollywood. And I don't even know if I think in their quiet moments, they were thinking big. They wanted the screenplay to be big. And I think it became bigger, Good Will Hunting, than they would have ever imagined. And I think that's the cool thing about prosperity consciousness is when you dream big, life shows up in an even bigger way. And it'll knock your socks off. And that's the excitement of being in prosperity consciousness. So here we are, we're headed into a break, and I'm feeling that, I'm hoping you're feeling that we're expanding this definition of prosperity to be way more than money and way more fun. Although money is tremendous fun, but an expansive prosperity. Hi, and welcome back to expanding the definition of prosperity to be way bigger than just money. And a book that I love is called Pronoia. And in the book, the basic concept fostered by the author is that it's time to be pronoid instead of paranoid. Pronoia is the idea that all of life is working on our behalf, helping us, supporting us, and wanting the best for us, and fostering our dreams in every way. Where paranoia, which is fear-based, of course, is the state of being distrustful, anxious, suspicious, and feeling like a victim of life. And how many of us just set up in our unconscious and consciousness that we need to be paranoid, afraid, and always playing devil's advocate, making sure we're protecting. And there's so much more prosperous experience out there waiting for you if you were pronoid. And really, there's no joy in paranoia. Worse than being more paranoid than you are, and the more you're paranoid, the more negativity you draw to you. And so pronoia is about knowing that life is based towards well-being. It's biased towards prosperity. The life force that animates us is biased in the fundamentals of life, which are love, power, beauty, joy, peace, abundance, harmony, well-being. So what if you were pronoid and looked at everything in your life like it was created just for you, to have the life experience you wanted? What if Starbucks was created and there in case you wanted a cup of coffee? What if trees are there in case you want shade? What if electricity, running water, comfy pillows, and so many of the things in our day-to-day life that we don't even notice are there for our pleasure and enjoyment? This is being pronoid and realizing that, there's such a grace and a gift to life, but we're not even noticing all the gifts around us because we're stuck in our own little small-minded ways. And so there's tremendous prosperity in starting to realize that life is biased towards the grace of the moment, knowing that all is well and that we're cared for deeply. Prosperity consciousness is giving ourselves the gift of this wisdom and abiding in the deep peace that it creates, this prosperity of being pronoid instead of paranoid. There's also tremendous prosperity in feeling good. And interestingly enough, I was taught that it was selfish and self-indulgent to feel good. That feeling good was equated with being lackadaisical or indulgent. And so I learned that it wasn't really okay to feel good. But then as I learned about the power that we have to create and the law of attraction, I realized that feeling good was a barometer and that it was a way I talked to myself and gave myself valuable information about what I was attracting to me and if it was aligned with my highest and best. So in that feeling of not feeling so good, it's a message from me to me about, hey, change your thought, change your feeling, change whatever you're doing, change the environment you're in, because you're not in alignment with who you are. Because when you're in alignment with who you are, you feel good, which was totally opposite of what I was taught. That feeling good is prosperity experienced. That's how you... And that's how you know you're in a prosperity place, because you feel good. So fascinatingly, we've been enculturated to actually not allow our prosperity and not notice prosperity, because for a lot of us, feeling good might not be okay. We need to be working hard. And it's okay if you're working hard and you feel good about it, but if you're working hard just to work hard, again, you're not getting the benefit of the hard work, and you're certainly not getting the benefit of the prosperity that was meant in feeling good. Another way that I feel prosperity is all around us all the time is in nature and animals. When I walk through a garden, I feel prosperous. One day I went to a butterfly world in Fort Lauderdale, and there was so many gorgeous butterflies. It just filled my heart with joy, because nature is real and it's perfect. It just is, and it's always there. An abundance of snow, an abundance of fog, an abundance of air to breathe. There's so much going on around us all the time in nature. And again, nature opens our hearts and helps us feel huge. Animals help us feel our hearts are open. And when we do that, we are overcome with a love that's not based on anything in particular. It's just based on an appreciation of what is, an appreciation of just the animal being its animal self, nature being its nature self. There is so much prosperity there that, again, we might just basically overlook it as we run through our life. I also think there's tremendous prosperity in generosity. And for me, generosity is giving freely. It's sharing something that you have without any strings attached. And that generosity is a quality of being ready to give freely without strings or expectations in any form. And I cultivate that feeling that I have plenty, that I have more than enough to share and to spare, and this helps me feel full and able to share freely. So that I hope you're feeling that prosperity is a heart center thing. It's when you feel generous, your heart is open, and you just freely give. That's different than, here, take it, or I should give it to you, or it's better to give than to receive, so here. And you just feel like you're taking out of that little, drip that you have at the bottom of the cup. That is really too bad to give from that drip place. When you start to cultivate that feeling of huge prosperity, you can give from a flow place because it's flowing to you. The picture I see the energy and of prosperity flowing into me almost through my back, and then I pay it forward, and it flows through out of me. And it's constantly doing that with the in-breath and with the out-breath. I breathe in, I enjoy the prosperity of life. I breathe out, I share myself. It's so unconditional. It's so free-flowing. And so there's tremendous prosperity and generosity. There's tremendous prosperity in friends and friendships. When I think of my friends, I feel rich. When I get together with my friends, we laugh and we goof around, we talk and we share, and we really honor and respect each other. I get such a feeling of fun. And this is true wealth, that friends give us the gift of easy and effortless friendship, and we give them the gift of friendship. And for so many of us, family is a source of prosperity. Our kids, our spouses, the people we are in relation with, our family is a sign of prosperity for many of us. And it's, again, that place where we're in a place of open-heartedness. The prosperity of letting go of doubt. To me, there's so much prosperity when you let go of doubt, allowing the absence of doubt and getting rid of the feeling and worry that doubt is there. I can't tell you how much, again, we damp down because we doubt that our dreams will happen. We doubt that we're loved. We doubt that we're valuable. We doubt that there's enough of the good stuff of life. If you start to look around, you start to notice the words that you use to talk to yourself. They have doubt at the root of them. And doubt is scarcity. It's scarcity, it's worry, it's concern. And really, doubt it's like putting the brakes on the gas pedal of your life. You're putting the brakes on, and the car goes really slow, your life car, because you're stopping that flow of energy. And so when you let go of doubt, there's tremendous prosperity, and you get to allow your prosperity in. That we're the ones who give permission for prosperity to show up. We're the ones who are open. We decide if we're going to open up to seeing it and feeling it. It's in our control, and it's in our space. And when we choose to be doubting, we are actually the ones turning the flow off. No one outside of us is doing it to ourselves. It's us doing it to ourselves through our doubt. So let that doubt go and start to realize that, again, be paranoid. Realize that life is working on your side. Have a strong desire. Let your dreams come forth, and don't use doubt energy to damp them down. Use prosperity energy to help them flourish. There's tremendous prosperity in letting go of your doubts and freeing your mind and opening your heart. It opens a fresh flow and a tremendous bounty to come through. So again, see doubt as a giant door slamming on prosperity. And when you let go of that doubt, you open the door and you let these new possibilities flow in. So isn't this interesting? We're having this conversation about prosperity, and really, we haven't talked about money at all. We've talked about all these essential feelings, essential notions, and things that are going on in our life that we might not be noticing because we're stuck in our patterns. And that's part of this opportunity, is to start redefining prosperity for you, start noticing it for you, and start seeing it in a bigger way. And as you start to give yourself permission to see prosperity in a new way, prosperity is going to start showing up for you in all these new ways and in unexpected ways that you hadn't noticed. And so after the break, we're going to talk about the prosperity of noticing prosperity. Hi, and welcome back. And we're talking about prosperity in the big P way, the expanded definition of prosperity. And before the break, I was saying how it's prosperous to notice prosperity. How many things in our day-to-day lives make us feel prosperous, but sometimes we don't even notice them? Like for me, sometimes I feel prosperous when I take a fresh load of laundry out of the dryer. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. It's funny how many things happen on a day-to-day basis that if we just took note of them and said, wow, that felt really good, that felt prosperous. I feel prosperous when I get a great parking spot. Or the other day I felt prosperous when I was wishing for a new shampoo because I didn't like the one I was using. And then 2 days later, a friend of mine gave me a sample of a new shampoo to try. How cool is that? There's so many ways in our day-to-day life that we experience prosperity. And now by noticing them and feeling the prosperity they engender, we're consciously creating more of that. And that's the key. In our conscious noticing of the prosperity that's there, that's coming in big ways and in little ways. And that's the key. In big ways and little ways, we're creating that momentum, that flow. And of course, the more we notice, the more we attract. The more we attract, the more we notice. That's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The rich get richer because, in some ways, they're paving the way for rich, and then more richness is attracted. And that's what we're doing here. The more prosperity you notice, the more you're going to attract, and then the more prosperous you're going to feel, what you're going to attract. And it's just it's a vortex. It's like starts sucking in more and more prosperity, and it is fun. Believe me, it's so fun. And last night we were talking in my class about getting comfortable with feeling prosperous, and you should have seen, I said, okay, imagine you just won the lotto. And every single person in class, there's like 30 kids in there, boom, you could tell all of them went there. They all had imagined they were winning the lottery, and there was a palpable shift in the energy of the room. There was a, and wow, and yahoo. It was so fun. And you could just feel, they were feeling the feeling of winning the lottery, and they were conjuring within themselves that prosperous feeling. And on some level, you know how to create prosperity by just feeling prosperous. And at some level, if you can learn and choose prosperity feelings right now, you can start to create the momentum of prosperity. So, and I've been teaching myself how to win the lottery, and I've decided that every day I'm going to have a lottery-like experience. And I've said this before, and it's not just winning money, but it's the feeling like, wow, you just won. You just won somebody letting you in when you're driving down the street. You never know how it's going to show up, but once you decide and you feel that winning feeling, more winning feelings start to come to you. I hope this is becoming obvious and clear, and I'm clear about this because it's really fun. Once you figure out how to put yourself in that space, you're in the place of attracting it, and prosperity will be coming freely without thinking about it for you in a while. There's also tremendous prosperity and abundance. I remember one day during Christmas I was shopping and I was in this huge abundant grocery store, and they had so many wonderful items packed into this amazing space. And I was feeling quite prosperous, and interestingly enough, I had been wishing to find sprinkles. I don't know if you know what sprinkles are, but they're those cool little colored things that you put on ice cream. I love them, and the good ones are really soft, and they're just, I don't know what they're made of, but they're tasty. And I was having a hard time finding good sprinkles. Well, here at this grocery store was a giant display of sprinkles in every color. They were in 1-pound packages. Could you imagine? Pink, yellow, green, white, blue, purple. I mean, every color under the rainbow. And they were only $1 each. So I went crazy and I bought 2 of every color, and because I decided that's what I was going to give my nieces for Christmas. And so I must have had 20 packages of sprinkles, and the woman behind the counter, her eyes were just wide. But I just felt so abundant. Piling them all in the cart and purchasing them was tremendously abundant. And when I wrapped all those sprinkles and I gave them to my nieces, they couldn't, when they opened them, they just were like, it's just one box of sprinkles after another, and they were wide-eyed with excitement. And when we start to look around life, that's what we can see. We can be wide-eyed at the amount of abundance that is everywhere. There's tremendous prosperity and abundance. There's also tremendous prosperity in self-centeredness. I know this is going to sound weird, but knowing what you want and listening to your inner wisdom is tremendous prosperity. So focusing on yourself, and I don't mean in a greedy way too much. I mean being clear about what you want and giving yourself permission to live your highest and best life. There's tremendous prosperity in that, and there's tremendous generosity in that, because you are going to be giving so much, but not in a sacrificial way, in a full, wholehearted, whole person way, and that's tremendously prosperous. There's also tremendous prosperity when you think of being enough, in enoughness. And one of my favorite movies is Meet Joe Black, and the corporate titan is Bill Parrish. This movie centers around a man who is being courted by the angel of death, and they spend a lot of time together. And Bill Parrish is to me, an icon of how you could live your life and build a business in integrity. And at the end of the movie, right before he's going to be taken to death, with death, he has a giant, gorgeous birthday party. And at the end, he gives this beautiful speech about how he made a wish on a candle, and he's going to share with all his guests the wish that he made. And he tells them, "My wish for you is that you live a life as lucky as mine, and you wake up wanting for nothing more." And how prosperous is that when we start to give ourselves the gift of enoughness, that we are enough, that our lives are enough, that how we operate in the world is enough. There's so much richness in that feeling of stopping the treadmill of get more, get more, get more. More is not necessarily better. It's just more. And there's tremendous prosperity in feeling complete and content and all is well. And that is the prosperity of enoughness. I also think there's tremendous prosperity in and thinking. Letting go of the this or that scarcity thinking. You can only have your cake or eat it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. What? That doesn't make any sense. If I have cake, I want to eat it. You can have money or your life. Why? I want money to play with in my life. I can have money or freedom. What's the point of having money if I don't have any freedom? So think and. Get rid of those classic old messages. There's so much prosperity in and thinking. There's also tremendous prosperity in having an open mind. The other day, I've been messing around with the lottery, and I asked a friend of mine to come with me to purchase lottery tickets. And because I really want to get over worrying that, the odds are stacked against me, that life is against me. So I asked her if she would come and help me create us both winning, because I know the power of co-creating. And she said to me that she has a good logical mind, and she knows the odds of winning, and she just could not get her mind around the idea of winning the lottery. And I thought, that's really, I'm glad she was honest with me, and to be honest, I'm not sure that I can get it around either. But the interesting thing is that once our minds are closed, they're closed. And for better or worse, we are closing down possibilities. And so I think that's why people have such a hard time making peace with money, because they've come to believe and think so many things about it. And you might as well put money in the category of winning the lottery. And for a lot of people, it's like fat chance I'll ever have any. But for someone who's got beginner mind or open mind, they don't know that it's not possible to win. They don't know that it's not possible to create money. That's why teenagers are fascinating if they haven't been taught too much by their parents, because that beginner mind, I don't know I'm supposed to fail. I don't know I'm not supposed to win an Oscar for creating, one time out, like Precious just won. The Hurt Locker, these are first-time people doing things, and they didn't know that they weren't supposed to win. And so why not give it a try? Give yourself the huge prosperity of having a beginner mind and see how freeing and prosperous being open to new possibilities and beginning can really be. And so I also want to say, before we head into the break, that there's tremendous prosperity in paving the way for prosperity. You know, the prosperity of having the best week ever. Decide that you're going to have the best week ever. Decide that you're going to have the best day ever. Start every day with a prosperity mindset. Presuppose prosperity. You know, I can't tell you, this is again an offshoot of the doubt. Why do we presuppose failure when we start something? Why do we presuppose it's going to be hard effort when we start something? Why do we presuppose, all this baggage before we ever walk through the door of doing anything? I want you to start teaching yourself to presuppose success. Don't tell me all the things that can't go wrong. Tell me all the things that can. Don't tell me why you can't do something. Tell me all the reasons why you want to do something, why it's a good idea, why you will be successful. When you start to presuppose prosperity, presuppose success, presuppose that it's all there, you start paving the way for your prosperity and success. And so there's tremendous prosperity in presupposing and paving the way of good things happening. It's being pronoid. It's being open to success coming to you. And again, to me, just as I was saying all that, I felt free. I felt open. I felt excited. And in excitement and enthusiasm and, just feeling success and agreeing to success, you're agreeing to prosperity right there in that simple moment. And daisy chain a few more of those moments together, and you've got a successful day. Daisy chain a few of those days together, and you got a great week. Daisy chain a whole bunch of prosperous weeks together, and you got a great year. You see the momentum here? You got a great year, you create another great year, and then pretty soon you've daisy chained a wonderful life together. That's prosperity. Welcome back, and we're spending the time here expanding our definition of prosperity so that we can feel the fullness of life in its full prosperity experience. And I have a giant list of things that I've been keeping that to me are prosperity, and I've given you a few here. And I want to cover just two more, and then I'm going to encourage you to start making your own list. And one of the things I think is so prosperous is giving ourselves permission to be unconditional. That when we put conditionality on things, it limits things. And to me, conditionality is the state of if-then-else thinking. If A, then B, else C. So if you want chili hot, then add jalapenos, but otherwise don't. And that's the simple side of conditionality, but we've expanded conditionality to have a huge impact on our esteem, meaning we put conditionality into our grading systems. If we get an A on our project, then we're good, else we're bad. And so conditionality in its purest form is very non-judgmental and simple, but we've taken conditionality to a whole new level, and it has an impact on if we agree that we're good enough, if we're valuable enough. So on some level, there's tremendous prosperity in releasing this conditionality and releasing the conditions and accepting things as they are and accepting yourself as you are. There's tremendous prosperity in saying, I am as I am, and there's no condition around that. It's unconditional. The love, the prosperity that's flowing in life, it's not conditional. It's available to you. All you have to do is say yes to it. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do good things in order for the elseness to happen. There's no if-then with you, with your life. And so I think if we, as a society, as a people, can give ourselves permission to be more unconditional and more accepting, there's tremendous freedom in that and tremendous prosperity. So feeling into unconditionality, and spend some time with that, because I think you're going to be really amazed at how conditional and transactional and, of course, then limiting we create our lives to be. And the final prosperity thing that I want to give you is the prosperity of now. I can't tell you how many times I'm fretting over the past or worrying about the future, and I am not here in the present moment. And usually the present moment is quite lovely. Right now, being able to talk with you, what a gift this is. In an average day, there's so many things that we do, from eating to showering to working, in any one moment that are really just fine. And wouldn't it be cool if we could start to see the present of the now moment? And when you do that, it's beautifully prosperous. I really decided to see the wealth in the now moment, and then I'm touched by what I see, from a couple chatting, at breakfast, to a tree blowing in the wind, to a daffodil just starting to peep out of the ground. There's so much going on that we don't notice, and there's tremendous prosperity and abundance in the now moment. So if you can be there, right here, be here now, there's so much you'll start to notice. And that's really the optimum opportunity with prosperity, is to notice it. To notice the prosperity of your home, to notice the prosperity of beauty, to notice the prosperity of hope, to notice all these wonderful things in our lives that are going on that we haven't noticed. Noticing is tremendously prosperous. And of course, I started saying that prosperity is different for each of us. So this is your prosperity homework, or your opportunity, is to take today and take a breath and start to look around and check in with yourself and say, wow, that really made me feel good. I feel prosperous. Or that didn't make me feel so good. What could I change? What could I modify? Or just accept it. But the power here is in the noticing. The power here is because you're putting your attention on it. And the more prosperity places you put your attention, energy, and focus on is what creates more of it. And that's what creates the momentum. So when you go to work, when you see something that you don't really like, don't go out and obsessing about it. Acknowledge it, see it, modify it, move on. But when you see something that really works, like a customer calls in and places an order, yahoo! Holy cow! Make a huge deal out of that. If somebody says a nice word to you, wow, thank you very much. Don't say, oh no, I don't deserve that, or, you're just flattering me. Thank you. Take it in. Breathe it in. That's our opportunity in a nutshell. Is prosperity is, and it's always coming to you. You've got to stop saying no to it and start saying yes to it, because there's tremendous beauty, tremendous joy, tremendous flow going on to us, to our lives, to our businesses, to our world. And the more individually we step into that flow and we appreciate it and notice it, the more that is sending an energetic vibe around your community and around the world. It does. It's like the butterfly effect. As you start to flap with prosperity and joy, that little flap will be felt around the world. It is. You are a butterfly. Start flapping prosperity and let that wave be felt in the places where we think there can't be change. There can be, but it starts right here and in your heart and in our hearts. And if you take nothing from this talk and this discussion about prosperity, is a heartfelt experience, right? It's in the place where we are in joy, and it's okay to enjoy money. Absolutely. It's okay to enjoy the wonders of life. Absolutely. It's when we say we can't have the conditionality of I can't feel prosperous until I have money. That's when we're squeezing ourselves into a small place. When we put money in front of our joy and we say I can't have the things of life until I have money. That's when we've misplaced money, and we've put it on a pedestal, and we've made it the source of our prosperity, and it is not. Money just isn't. It's just a thing. It's a thing we play with. It's a thing we enjoy, but prosperity is. And when we shift into prosperity consciousness, watch all the things that flow to you, through you, and around you, including, of course, money. Have a wonderful, prosperous week, and notice all that is, and start enjoying it. And feel free to email me and let me know, because once you start seeing it,